In the previous lesson, we have built our question form and added validation error messages in the form markup. Now in this lesson, we will implement form validation to verify whether the question being asked is valid or not. Once we're sure that the question is valid, we'll save it into our database. Alright, let's head over to our terminal. And by now, I'm sure you're already familiar with these steps. So let's create new branch, git checkout -b, and then the branch name will be, that's right, lesson 8. Now let's head over to our editor, and this time we will implement form validation in different way. So we'll define our validation rules outside the controller. So we'll write them in separate file, and we can call the file as form request, and then we call it or load it in our controller. This will make our controller a bit cleaner. Actually, defining validation rules in form request is intended for a complex scenario, but I want you to learn a lot so you know many different ways to get things done. Okay, firstly we need to create the file, and in order to do that, let's jump to our terminal. And from now on, I'll be using Visual Studio Code integrated terminal, and I can open it by hitting Ctrl backtick, or via menu, View, Integrated Terminal. Once it's open, the prompt will be our current project. And here we can open multiple terminals by hitting this plus button. And here we can see the open terminal in this drop-down. And we can switch from one terminal to another by clicking this drop-down item. Alright, here in the first terminal, I'll run my server. PHP artisan serve. Okay, the server running. Now I'll switch to my second terminal, and I'll use this one to run artisan command. So if you're not using Visual Studio Code Editor, or you prefer to use your favorite terminal, you can continue using it. But from now on, I'll be using this integrated terminal, and this may be no longer used. So I'll close it. Alright, here let's generate our form request by typing PHP artisan make :request, and then the name of our form request. You can name it with any name, but I think it's better to contain model name and end with request. So in this case, let's call it ask question request. Hit return. Now if we go to app, HTTP folder, we'll find request folder, and inside it we'll find ask question request.php. Let's open this file. And inside this file we'll find authorize method, which we can read in the command is to determine if the user is authorized to make this request. For now, let's change this to return true. That means all users are authorized to make this request, because we only need to define validation rules in this rules method. So here we simply define validation rules for our question in the return array. So the title will be required, and it should be maximum 255. For the body, I think we only need it to be required. Okay, save that. And now let's open the questions controller. And jump to store method. Here, let's change the type hint from request to ask question request. And that's it. We defined the validation rule in ask question request. And to actually validate the request, we need to type hint our method with our form request. So as I said, by doing this, our controller will be a bit cleaner because we have separated our validation logic in separate file. And here I made a mistake. It should be ask question request. Sorry for that. Now here, let's show message for a while. So this message will be shown if the request pass our validation rules. Alright, let's save this and try that out. Actually, here in the top, we need to import the file. Save the change, and let's give it a try. Let's open the question form. And here, let the form empty, and then hit the submit button. Now you can see the validation error messages are appear. Next, let's enter only the title input. And then hit submit button. Oops, I got error. Validate 255 does not exist. Let me check that. And of course, this should be max 255. Save. And roll it again. Here we'll get validation error message below the question body only. We have no error message in the title input now. But the problem is, we lose the question title that we enter before hitting the submit button. So to fix that, let's go back to our editor, switch to create.php, and here, in the title input, let's specify value attribute, and its value will be populated with all value, or value before we hitting submit button. So here we can say alt title Next, let's also do almost the same thing to body text area. Here we need to place the alt value between text area opening and closing tag. Let's try again. Reload the page. Enter only title input. And then hit the submit button. Okay, now we don't lose our question title. Now let's also enter the question body. And then hit the submit button. Alright, we have store message show up. That means our validation is working and we're ready to save the question to our database.